what do we know about how mindfulness helps reduce stress? What's going on in the brain to reduce stress?
Well, I actually think it ties back to what you were asking about the definition of mindfulness, right? So I think John's description, I think this is the first time I've heard you say it was a definition. It's more like a description. Yeah. But it's actually operational definition. It's quite prophetic, because I'm just going to say it again. Paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, non-judgmentally. Did I get it right?
Yep.
Okay. So the paying attention on purpose piece is essentially, in my mind, a hypothesis that maybe what'll change is our ability to voluntarily direct our attention. So if we think of the capacity of the mind and of attention kind of like a flashlight that you can direct it at will, well, maybe the capacity to direct it at will might be helped. And that could be really useful if your mind tends to move that flashlight in directions that aren't that useful. So for example, in the context of depression, constantly having that internal flashlight shine on depressogenic negative thoughts and feeling like you can't control it. If you were allowed to engage in activities and practices that could give you a better hold so that you could direct it where you wanted it to go, that could be helpful. So attention is one piece of that. In a particular way and in the present moment, in my mind, when I hear that, and I'd say the field is sort of moving in this direction, it's a hypothesis about our ability to develop what we call meta-awareness, an awareness of what we are experiencing in the moment. What is happening right now? Right? So the quality of being able to know where my mind is. Am I wandering or am I here? Am I actually sitting in the chair, or is my mind, somewhere else? So that's the meta-awareness piece. And then this last point about non-judgmentally, in my mind, I would say it really is about the kind of value-laden, affectively charged meaning we give to things, and that we might have some control over how much value we decide to give something. So if something happens and you say, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened, well, that's one meaning you're giving to what happened. What if there's another meaning, like this is the best thing that could have ever happened, or this is of no consequence? Those are all different judgments, so to speak, on an event.
So from the neuroscience perspective,
right?
Why do some people fall apart in a stressful situation, whereas other people somehow can ride it out? And
absolutely.
It doesn't get to them
these
so much.
Three areas, right? Paying attention willfully, being able to be aware of what's going on, meta-aware, and not having so much having some control over the amount of meaning you put into something, or how much self-relatedness there is to something, are all kind of vulnerable points in our life experience. So if we, for example, and by the way, excuse me, they represent sort of core mental functions that in the brain have limited capacity. So for example, our ability to pay attention willfully is a limited capacity thing. If you direct it a lot or use it up, you're not going to have a lot of control in your ability to use it willfully again. So in one way, when I think about stress, it could be that these people that are experiencing it, including me at that point in my life, were spent. They didn't have any more capacity to willfully guide what their mind did. They were really prone to the habits of mind. And same thing goes for meta-awareness. If we are spent in our ability to see what we're doing and feeling and thinking and experiencing, if we have no ability to actually experience, we're going to go on autopilot. We're not going to be mindful of our behavior. And then same thing with affective meaning. So I would say when I think about what are certain vulnerabilities and what does it mean to be stressed, it's typically, I would say the flip side of that would be to be resilient. So having the capacity to bounce back when things go wrong, and having the capacity to maintain your functioning even when things are more and more stressful. So my question in the research, going back to your question about brain regions, what is that capacity is the question I was asking. And one place that I was looking was the human attention system.